Hi everyone, welcome to Life with Pal, and I'm Vanessa. Today I wanted to share with you about ID Police. I usually don't buy a lot of as seen on TV stuff, but I happened to come across it at my local Walgreens a few weeks ago for under $9, and I figured I'd give it a try. It's a pretty easy to open package. I used a knife and just cut along the seam lines, and it opened without any issue. It does include basic paperwork, and it does tell you that you cannot re-ink the ID Police if it dries out. There is a note on the back of the sheet that lists papers that it may not work well with. So papers that may pick up excessive ink, embossed forms, large font, maybe waxy papers, things like that, it may not be effective on. And this is just to show you the roller. So next is an intro video that I took.
So this is a test of the ID Police to see how well it works on notebook paper, printer paper. I tested it on notebook paper. And as you can see, this happened when I pressed too hard. So you have to press very lightly for it to actually show you the ID Police little symbol. You can't press too hard because it smears, as you can see. And if you press too hard, it does leak through general paper. So let's test it really quick with notebook paper, with printer paper, and see what happens. I'll be right back. So I removed the cap, as you can see, and basically you're supposed to do it very lightly. So let's see how this works. It's kind of hard to do it one-handed. So you're just supposed to kind of just stand it up, and if you'll forgive the wiggliness really quick, let me see. And it's just supposed to roll. You can't press too hard, which is the problem. In the commercial, it's just glide and it's all done. Let's see. Sorry about this. Okay, so I found out what the issue is. I had it backwards. You're supposed to hold it with the ID Police logo towards you. And let me take it off the bottom. And let me use a new sheet of paper real quick. Bear with me really quick. Let me change hands. So you can see here, it's pretty much pressed down. And what I had, when I had it backwards, I had it like this, and that's why it wasn't working. So you basically press down, and it kind of clicks the little roller upward. And then, if you'll excuse the wiggliness really quick, you just roll. So it works when you have it the right way. So what I figured is that it must have a pressure plate. So you have to kind of set it down like this, and you hear it snap into place. And then you just roll as you go. So as the commercial tells you, it glides with ease. It really, in a sense, does glide with ease, if you'll excuse me for... And so that's how it works. So let me put it back in the base, and let's see if it leaked through the back. You still do have some basically run off or bleed through, but it's not as bad as before. I had a lot more when I had it backwards. So I'm going to show you some test papers. I found just some general mailers that we could use the different types of paper, and I'll post that and when we come back live in just a few minutes.
Hi everyone. I wanted to again talk about the ID Police for a second. Um, Overall, it's pretty easy to use. As a promise, I was going to show you some mailers that I had to see how well it works. It does have an easy to hold design, and the top comes off fairly easily. It does tell you to make sure that you secure it back into place, and it just kind of like snaps on. It's just a little twist top. Just as an overview, I was going to show you again all of the just general uses that I did. And over time, it does dry. It does take a few minutes to dry. It depends on the paper. And according to the information sheet, I thought I'd read this out loud for you guys. Um, Drying time will vary by the paper type. And let me read the papers that it may not work well with. It says objects that cannot be effectively covered. Paper with rough surface. Paper which absorbs ink excessively, some types of specialty coated paper, text with raised print, so like an embossed form, text printed in color, and text in a large font size, etc. So basically, those are kind of the things. I actually found a kind of like a waxy little paper that I had from a testing community. So we'll figure out how well that works right now. So let's try that. Open my AD, please. And as you can see, this little form that I have here has a QR code. So let's see if it'll go over the QR code. So as I mentioned, you have to press it down and you kind of hear it engage and then you just roll. This, since I put it in the right position, it's already engaged. So it's basically just ready to use. So let me just hold it up here. Kind of awkward to do this. We'll try. So let's see. So as you can see, it did cover the QR code. Not really well, but it did work. And since it is kind of like a waxy paper, you may have to do it multiple times. So as you can see, this is what it looks like when you go over it multiple times. And again, it did note that with colored font, it may not work properly. So this is an example of what that would look like. I have just a regular mailing envelope from a charity. So I thought we'd black out the address on the envelope. So as you can see, it's just a regular plain mailer envelope. Well, the business. And as you can see, that actually worked pretty well. You can still see slightly the business, but you can't see the mailer, the actual mailing address. So let's open this envelope real quick and see how well it went through. And as you can see, it didn't bleed through the envelope. And if we hold it up to the light, you can't see the address on the inside. We'll use my phone for the flashlight so we can see if you can actually see through it. Okay, so as you can see, I have my phone light on. Let's see. And you really can't see the address. You do just see the ID police. I hope I'm not blinding anybody, but you get the idea. So it does work. So I will give it that credit where they tell you in the commercial that you can hold it up to the light and you won't see anything. So it does seem to work pretty well. And I had one other paper I was going to share with you. Just another general QR code from, and this is like more of a cardstock paper. So let me see if this will work too. Okay, so this completely covered the QR code that was on this paper, and it worked pretty well with the insurance name as well. So let's give you my final thoughts on the ID police. I will say that I shouldn't have laughed at the commercials. It does work. I will say that it does work. It currently retails for about $15. You can find it for varying prices at different retailers. Like I said, I found mine at my local Walgreens in like the as seen on TV section, and I got it for like I think it was like $8.50. That's why I wanted to try it. So overall, it does work. I will say again, depending on the material that you're using, if it's more of a cardstock paper, general paper like say a mailer for bills or anything like that, coverage will vary and drying time will vary too. But this is pretty useful. Um, I didn't have the one thing that I wish I would have picked up was like a pill bottle or something to see if that would have covered that kind of label. But I mean, for trial and error, it worked pretty good. I will say that it is worth the money. If you think it's something for you, I will include the information in the description below. So have a good day, everybody. Bye.